Bryson DeChambeau had himself a day Sunday. He missed that 12-footer on 18, which would have won him the BMW championship. Then he missed 3 more birdie putts in the playoff that would have ended it. And then he missed a final putt to ultimately lose to Patrick Cantlay. Then he lost his mind altogether. Let me read this from Kevin Van Valkenburg's description of Bryson's walk after losing the tournament. He writes, quote, "Halfway up the hill, something happened that made me feel like we've arrived at a miserable place in the never-ending circus that is DeChambeau. A patron waited until DeChambeau had walked by, but was not out of earshot, and then sneered from over the rope line, quote, 'Great job, Brooksie.' DeChambeau spun around in a rage and began briefly walking in his direction. Quote, 'You know what? Get the bleep out,' DeChambeau yelled. He had rage in his eyes," end quote. So he F-bombed this fan. Get the bleep out. Uh-oh! Athletes looking to swing on paying customers is never a good thing. And no, that's not me overreacting, even if that's all DeChambeau ever does. Check out what Van Valkenburg also wrote. Quote, "I'm being dead serious when I say it could have gotten ugly really fast. Maybe not malice at the palace bad, but in that moment, nothing would have surprised me." End quote. Yet, gentlemen's game my ass. Not if one of the biggest stars in the game is going to the other side of the rope to knock somebody the hell out, allegedly. Not if it's being compared to a potential malice in the palace situation. So, things have gotten completely out of hand, right? Yeah, not really. But the PGA seems to think so because Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan reminded everyone, quote, "Fans who breach our code of conduct are subject to expulsion from the tournament and loss of their credential or ticket," end quote. Yeah, I mean, on the one hand, I guess that sounds fine. I'm good with that, I guess. But is fans taunting DeChambeau by calling him Brooksie really that? That's a breach of your code of conduct? That's the reason to kick somebody out? That's a reason to rip their credential or their ticket? Yeah, I mean, apparently so, because the commissioner also added this.
You know, the barometer that we are all using is the word respect. And to me, when you hear Brooksie yelled or you hear any expression yelled, the question is that respectful or disrespectful? That has been going on for an extended period of time. To me, at this point, it's disrespectful. And that's the kind of behavior that we're not going to tolerate going forward.
Yeah, so good luck with that terrible idea, Commish. How does that make any sense at all? Look, I understand you want to protect your players, but ejecting fans who yell Brooksie at Bryson is not protecting Bryson. It's making Bryson look really soft and really weak. It looks like he's a guy who can throw around a ton of weight in the gym, talk junk, but then gets butthurt and his feelings hurt and all wounded when somebody says Brooksie near him. I mean, that is such a terrible look. That makes that ultimately shredded golfer look soft and doughy as hell. Now, I wasn't there for the incident after he blew that tournament on Sunday, so I don't know exactly what happened or what was said or what was done or not said. But if you read that piece, the issue is not the fan who yelled Brooksie. It's the fact that Brycie is responding and that he responded the way he did. It's the fact that DeChambeau, quote, spun around in a rage and began briefly walking in his direction. And it's the fact that he yelled out, quote, "You know what? Get the F out." And that he, quote, had rage in his eyes. So again, I was not there. But it sure seems like he's the problem. That's the problem in the situation. Yeah, and yes, I understand. Dude just lost a tournament that he should have won. And by the way, should have won it multiple times. And he failed. And he probably did feel like crap. And there's got to be a combination of frustration and anger at himself as he walked off that last hole. But you know what you can't do in that situation? Respond. Respond to the fans, F-bomb the fans, get hooked by the fans. Let them know that they're under your skin and they're in your head. And you sure as hell can't be walking towards them aggressively and F-bombing them with rage in your eyes. All right, so that's a Bryson problem, not a fan problem, not a Brooksie problem.
Brooksie.
And by the way, the tour is not solving it with this. They're not making it better. They're making it worse. Much, much worse. Believe me, they'll be coming with much worse heat than Brooksie.
Brooksie.
Heat that I can't repeat here. Or as James Hahn tweeted, quote, "It's official. Calling Bryson anything but his real name will get you thrown out of a golf tournament. So if any of you call me Kevin Na, Danny Lee, or Sang-Moo Bae, we're going to have some problems." End quote. He's exactly right. Nailed it. Lee Westwood chimed in, quote, "I've been called Lumpy, Oosty, Clarky, amongst other names that I can't mention, on and off for the past 25 years. And now you bring a rule in?" End quote. He's also right. As Westwood points out, man, it's part of the sport. Fans getting on your case is part of the game. And yes, while there may be a line, calling Bryson Brooksie is not over the line. It's tame, man. It's nothing. The only reason why it's a thing is because Brooksie goes ballistic every time he hears it. Ballistic! This dude literally thinks that it's a reason to go. You know that universal list of reasons to go that I always run down? This is not on it, but he seems to think it is. Bruh, deal with this. People don't like you. And the fact is, it's not just a you thing. It's an anyone who has ever been in the public eye thing. And for an alleged rocket scientist, you're not too bright not to understand this. My man, explain to me how you can split the atom, but you can't figure out how to play the game while a few fans are calling you Brooksie. Because they happen to like the guy you beef with way more than they like you. And now you're looking for the tour to get those meanies to leave you alone? Dude, softest look ever. This guy who has supposedly built himself into one of the finest physical specimens ever to pick up a golf club. Like I said, this guy is built like a brick bleep house, but he can't play through somebody calling him Brooksie. How weird is that? How soft is that? How is calling someone Brooksie a reason to go? Hey, listen, don't get me wrong. Like, to me, this whole Brooksie thing is already played out. It's pretty tired. It's pretty hack. And I'd be pretty happy if it went away. But it's like those dopes who used to shout various steak and potato orders off the tee. Or the idiot who screams, "Get in the hole!" on a par 5. No different. The PGA just hit this entire thing with gasoline. If you think that's going to stop people from yelling Brooksie at him, you're wrong. Dead wrong. If anything, they're going to yell it even more, they're going to yell it even louder, and they're going to yell other things that are much worse. You want to know how you make that thing go away? You know what you do? Nothing. You do nothing and it will stop. It may take a moment or two, but trust me, you do nothing and it will stop. Man, everybody looks bad here. Some reaction to the PGA Tour saying, hey, listen, you can't do it anymore. Do not call this guy Brooksie. Hedstrom Bacon writes, golf fans need to do better, signed Javi Baez. Now, you know who needs to do better? Javi Baez. Hey, Javi, I saw your apology, or I saw your apology. I do not accept it. Apology rejected. Benton is in. He writes, you should start calling Rex Poopsie. Maybe he'll stop calling.
Brooksie.
It's going to take a lot more than that to get Rex to put down the phone. Rex, for whatever reason, gets way too much positive affirmations and feedback and good feeling by calling up this radio show and talking about number 2. For some reason, that makes Rex feel good about Rex.
Is this the beef jerky segment?
Yes, Rex, it is. Are you going to try and work in another take on excrement?
Brooksie.
Rexcrement? Hashtag Rexcrement. Yeah, I just made that up. Romy, Commish isn't helping him. It's hurting him, man.
That's not helping kids. It's hurting them, Rome. And he shouldn't be talking about it on the radio, man.
It's a really bad idea, in my estimation. I mean, you're saying the fans cannot call this guy Brooksie, or they're going to be expelled. Literally, you're going to rip their ticket, or you're going to rip somebody's credential, or somebody's pass for calling a guy Brooksie. That's over the line? That's over the top? That's protecting your player? That is not protecting your player. That's making your player look like the biggest baby ever. That's making your player, a guy who's shredded, looked soft and doughy. Hey, Jim, I'm going to gamble on fart after my tacos tonight. Regards, Rex in the ABQ. Hey, Jake in New York City. I see what you did there. Like that you yourself would not say that and you were pretending to be Rex, but you yourself said that. Jake, you know I like you. You know I love some New York City reaction. If you ever send me anything that's stupid ever again, you will be blocked, and I block nobody. People have said really horrific bleep to me before, and I don't block them because I don't give a damn. You can say whatever you want to me, except that. Come on, Jake, do better. Look at the old school CEO is in. The CEO in SoCal. Chuck, you don't know this guy. CEO goes back. If I want to talk old school jungle listeners, the guys that come to mind are like Trapper, R.I.P., my man, Silk Bra, and the CEO. I mean, these guys literally go back to the night show. Ira Craig, don't call Ira. The night show, the Scrub Saturday show. That's why I made him the CEO. That's why he's glossed the CEO, because he was running this place. The CEO tweets, Brooksie should not go to Philly ever. Or really anywhere for that matter. Yeah, I mean, if that hurts your feelings that much, how do you even get out of bed? Hey, what do you know, dude? You beefed with another really popular player on tour, and a lot of the fans decided they don't like you, and they took the other guy's side. Why is this so surprising? This guy's got a pretty good point. Hey, Jim, remind your listeners, Jack Nicklaus in his early days on tour was frequently called Fat Jack and Blobbo, referencing his Ohio State ties. He ignored it. Bryson could learn from the greatest. Now, you know what? Bryson can learn from any kid who's ever gone to elementary school. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, Brooksie. I don't think you need to be Brooksie. Jack Nicklaus from this, man. I even want to say, never mind every great athlete, every human being, and I'm not in any way condoning bullying, but that's not what this is. And by the way, this is kind of part and parcel what you sign up for. If you're a professional athlete, the fans will boo you. They will talk junk. There is a line. You can't go over the line. But calling a guy named Bryson Brooksie is not going over any line. That is the tamest smack, and really pretty much the lamest smack I've ever heard. And the commissioner coming in and trying to end it just made it worse. He hit that little tiny smoldering ember with a giant gas can. That made it so much worse. In fact, if I were Brooksie, I'd be pissed. But then again, knowing how different that guy is, he's probably actually pretty happy. He probably has no idea how bad a look that is for him. D-Rod, the 925. Way to go, PGA. That's right up there with the NFL claiming that taunting is the biggest problem in football right now. Freaking do better. It is right up there with that, but this is worse. You're not doing this guy any favors, believe me. Most of all, he's not doing himself any favors, but you're not doing this guy any favors. How are we going to trust this guy to stand over a 10-foot putt to win a major if he can't play the game without freaking out and F-bombing and turning on somebody who called him, quote, Brooksie? Now you're going to hear it twice as often, and you're going to hear things 10 times worse. Brooksie is a very lame thing to call somebody. I'm going with Booby and see how that turns out. Signed Ellis.
Booby, I'm your white knight.
Hans.
Hans,
Not to be an old guy or to date myself, but find me a better movie than Die Hard. Find me a movie that holds up better than Die Hard. Find me a character that holds up better than Ellis.
Hans.
Ellis!
Hey, business is business.
Is John? Sure you do, Ellis.
Hey, John.
Jesse writes, I'm sure that Bryson's mom is happy that email that she wrote to the principal, commissioner, was read on the morning announcements at the press conference.
Brooksy.
Yeah, it's bad. It's all bad.